Welcome to our exploration of reasoning, the cornerstone of clear thinking. In this opening slide, we set the stage for why reasoning matters and what we'll cover, from core principles to practical skills, with the lightbulb image as a reminder that reasoning helps ideas spark and take shape in our everyday decisions. This slide asks a simple question: why does reasoning matter? Think of it as the map through a maze. Good reasoning guides public debate, personal choices, and policy decisions, helping us avoid misleading shortcuts and reach better outcomes when information is complex or contested. Reasoning shapes institutions, civic life, and individual choices, and the image of people voting reminds us how reasoning underpins democracy and trust. In an age of misinformation, clear thinking serves as our intellectual shield, helping us separate persuasive rhetoric from well-founded conclusions and navigate an information-rich world. The pursuit of truth is central to reasoning, and the mountain climber image captures that commitment to reach higher understanding. Reasoning encourages curiosity, careful investigation, and intellectual humility, urging us to follow evidence where it leads rather than defending comforting but unexamined assumptions. So what is reasoning? Picture your brain connecting facts, weighing evidence, and moving from ideas to conclusions in a deliberate way. Reasoning is the mental work of making sense of information, spotting patterns, testing claims, and forming judgments that are grounded rather than purely reactive. When we define reasoning, we mean more than one process. It's a systematic method for drawing conclusions from evidence, a toolbox for solving complex problems by breaking them down, a way of constructing coherent arguments, and ultimately a means of understanding relationships in our interconnected world. Human thought runs on two modes: a fast, intuitive system that reacts quickly, and a slower, reflective system that analyzes deliberately. Both have value. The fast helps us with immediate judgments and pattern recognition, while the slow lets us evaluate logic, check assumptions, and reach more reliable conclusions when stakes are high. This title slide introduces the main types of reasoning we'll examine. Think of the winding path in the image as the variety of routes thought can take. Some lead from general rules to specifics, others build generalities from evidence, and some rely on comparison or the best available explanation. Deductive reasoning moves from general principles to specific conclusions, and its power lies in certainty when the premises are true. The telescope image evokes precision. If your premises are sound, deduction guarantees a valid outcome, which is why this form is central to mathematics, formal logic, and rigorous argument. Inductive reasoning works the other way, moving from specific observations to broader generalizations. By noticing patterns and testing cases, we form probable conclusions, like predicting sunrise from repeated evidence. Inductive claims carry likelihood rather than certainty, so they require ongoing testing and careful use of evidence. Analogical reasoning draws parallels between similar cases to extend what we know into new situations, and the mirrored image reminds us of that comparison. Analogies can be powerful shortcuts for learning, but they demand caution because overlooked differences can lead to misleading conclusions unless we evaluate both similarities and dissimilarities carefully. Abductive reasoning is about selecting the most plausible explanation among alternatives, a kind of educated inference. We notice a phenomenon, generate possible causes, weigh their plausibility, and choose the best explanation, much like concluding that wet streets most likely mean it rained overnight while still considering other possibilities. Logical laws provide the structural backbone for clear reasoning, and the columned architecture in the image symbolizes that support. These foundational rules help us define terms consistently, avoid contradictions, and ensure that arguments follow coherent, interpretable paths rather than collapsing into confusion. 3 classical laws of logic anchor rational thought: the law of identity, which says things are what they are; the law of non-contradiction, which forbids something from being both A and not A at once; and the law of excluded middle, which insists propositions are either true or false with no middle ground, ensuring clarity in argument. Why do these laws matter in practice? The construction image shows that logic builds stable arguments, enables clear communication, and helps us detect when reasoning has gone off track. By applying these principles, we keep discussions coherent, make shared understanding possible, and spot errors that might otherwise mislead us. Reasoning in practice is about turning principles into habits, using tools of analysis, checking assumptions, and applying methods to real problems. The workshop image suggests craft and discipline. Developing reasoning skills means practicing careful inquiry, testing ideas, and refining how we evaluate evidence in everyday life. Recognizing fallacies is a key practical skill, and the caution sign image warns us to watch for errors in reasoning. Some fallacies are formal mistakes in argument structure, while others are informal, relying on irrelevant or misleading content, and learning to spot both protects you from being persuaded by unsound claims. Artificial intelligence is increasingly capable of reasoning-like tasks, and the circuitry brain image highlights that advance. Modern models excel at pattern recognition, inference, and analogical transfer across domains, but understanding their limits is crucial for responsible use and interpretation of outputs that can sometimes mimic human logic imperfectly. Reasoning is a lifelong skill that supports civil discourse, democratic participation, ethical judgment, personal development, and broad learning, and the petal diagram reflects these interconnected benefits. Cultivating reasoning enriches professional competence, improves decision-making, and fosters a thoughtful approach to complex moral and civic challenges. In conclusion, building a foundation of reasoning means thinking clearly, arguing fairly, and pursuing truth with humility. These habits let you navigate complexity, challenge assumptions, and contribute constructively, and by practicing them regularly, you strengthen your capacity to make informed, positive impacts in both personal and public life.